Okay, so the next step is making a cover for this thing. Basically, I just got a piece of paper and, you know, kind of felt here, created a pencil line for the opening, and then kind of plotted out the shape of the cover I'd want to make. This is the outline of the guitar. I didn't want to be too close to the edge of the guitar. So I kind of pulled it in a little bit here, pulled it in a little bit here. And then what I'll do is put it on my template blank. And if you look at it, basically this is just straight lines, right? So at the intersection, I just put a punch through it. And then I get the hole punches. Draw a straight line that's connecting it. It'll have a natural radius of, what is that, 3/8 inch? Or is it a 1/2 inch? I think it's 1/2 inch of the router bit that I'm using. So I'm not going to bother plotting that out. Let's see. Oh, and also I'm going to most likely magnetic mount the cover. That's why I needed quite a bit of margin. And also, the back is 7 millimeters thick. This thickness here, basically 7 millimeters. And also, where is it? There you go. And you know, you see me throwing the wood on top of this thing, which is probably another reason it gets gouged. And this is 7 millimeter thick. So what I have to do is basically I'm going to step down this thing probably like 4 millimeters. And on this side, either I shave this whole thing or plane this whole thing down to 4 millimeters, or just the edge part. I think I'm just probably going to hand route it to make it like 3 millimeters thick. So the middle part will be a full 7 millimeter thick to give it the strength, or the rigidity. And also what I'm going to be doing is, the reason I'm going to be magnetic mounting this thing, or so I think at this point, is basically I have a wrench set, right? These headless guitar, locking guitars, notoriously have wrenches. In this case, I'm probably going to have 3 or 4, probably 2 for the headstock, and 1, 2... in case I have to, you know, quickly change a string or something like that. I do want the wrenches nearby. Usually I'll put it on a headstock, but this one doesn't have a headstock. The guitar I made previously, what I did was I basically cut out a groove here to basically fit this thing in so you can't see it from the front, but yet it's really accessible. Didn't really like the execution. This one I'm just going to put it inside the cover. And also, because it's going to be accessible, I'm putting a notch in here so I can lift it off with my finger. At least that is the idea. So we'll see how that turns out in reality, or how I'll mess it up. Okay, so following the recess route, I guess, I put on the control panel cover. Basically, I put it on the spring cover, I guess, trim cover. So basically, when I put my flame, this is a good piece, and this will probably work. When I put a flame maple, the same material that's on the top, basically it's flush. Actually, right now it's a little bit proud, but so I have to sand it down. Anyways, that's done. And yeah, in doing that, basically cut out a rectangular jig. You probably notice screw holes. So the first attempt, basically the piece I had double taped on here, when I was going in with the router, it basically got pushed and moved out of the way. Basically it was supposed to stop us, but it went in. And I don't know, this side, maybe this is not enough width in order to support a double stick tape. So when I did this one, basically, you know, I screwed it down, at least on a single point, so it won't move out. And now, so now that I have this thing routed. This is very, very thin. Even at this height, you know, it is, let's see, can you see quite, so this is the cover width. So basically I'm thinking that I have to thin this lid, but then is really thin, so I'm a little bit concerned that if I push on this too hard, it'll break through. This one is easier because it's supported, right? This one's not because it's hollow. And I kept the back a little bit thicker so I could inset it, but I guess I calculated wrong. Either that, or as I was cleaning up the backside, or as I was plunge routing into the face, I probably went too far. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to try to shore it up from the underside with extra thickness. This is the maple, the same material as the top. It's scrap, right? Small pieces. So basically, let's see, I'll be gluing these on the backside to give it a little bit more structural rigidity on this thin piece so it won't collapse. Does it make sense that I just do a full route for the thickness of it? It'd be a lot easier, maybe, but then I'll have to construct this thing around it. So I'm not really sure, but I think at this point the piece I'm making here, I'm just going to make the edges kind of thinner where it sits on this thing, and keep the rest of this thing thicker so at least it has some rigidity. So here's a repair attempt for that top that was kind of chipping away. Basically flooded with glue around there, kind of play around with it, hoping the capillary action will pull the glue inside, and basically clamped it down, well, taped it down with painter's tape, and then with clamp, we hope keep it down, it'll harden. The problem is that it may actually kind of cause a stripe, although it's such a small repair, I'm not really sure if it'll be noticeable. And here are the sort of supports. You could see, let's see, down in here. So the top layer is the alder, which is basically wood. And you could see a secondary, the lighter colored layer, which is the maple that I added. And of course it's the same maple, this part. Just scraps. So in each ends, like right around here and right around here, it's not supported, but generally it's supported here, where I intend to put the magnet in, so it should be okay. Okay, and the build continues. So what I've recently done is created the cover for the tram cover and the control cavity. Basically use the same routing template I used to create this. Right? Basically on this, I got the dimension and I created exactly fit, and actually you won't even fit in that. It's like, very strange. So actually I had to make it quite a bit smaller than, probably about 1 millimeter thinner in almost each dimension in order to fit. And of course it is not a, so there is a little bit of play, so I could live with that. Same thing here, where I made it based on the template, and it won't fit. So I actually had to use this to nibble a little and then cut. Anyway, this is almost flush, so I'm probably just going to sand it down to be completely flush. This one I was thinking of thinning the border to compensate for that, but the problem is, once I thin this part, it's not going to be thick enough for me to mount the magnet. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and it's just going to be a little bit proud. I'll radius the edge, so it won't be just such a sharp angle. But yeah, trying to get this thing done. Now, this is a magnet I got at Home Depot. Neodymium. These are very strong, so at this point I'm thinking I'm going to use two, one here and one here, and possibly one here and one here for the lids, to see if that's strong enough, or whether I could even open it with the magnet in place. And if it's not strong enough, I'll just add more magnets. Okay, here I'm trying to secure the back rather than using screws, using nail neodymium disc magnets you got at Home Depot. And the answer is 2 magnets for both sides, so a total of 4 a plate. Seems about the right count. So I got 2 in here, 1 here, 1 here. So when I try to open it up, I drilled 4 holes because I thought I was going to need 4, and might as well, right? So now it's an empty hole, so it looks kind of bad, but oh well. So it clamps on, and it will not come off unless you really want it to come off. Same thing here. 2 magnets. Drilled 4 holes again here. Thinking I'd need more. Maybe I will have more, but as it is right now, it is in there pretty tight. So I think 2 magnets each is probably, or 4 magnets, right, both sides, is probably the correct quantity for gluing or magnet installing your plates to the body of the guitar. Okay, so here's a neck shaping stage. Basically shaping the neck to a sort of round profile. Basically I'm just using belt sander and just rocking it back and forth, making sure I don't go deep into the neck pocket size, because this obviously you want it flat in order for it to surface. And we're using a Haiti grit right now, and I'll probably go to 120 and 240 or something like that to smooth out. This is bird's eye maple, but with bird's eye it's a little bit hard to actually see if it'll actually come out or not. Got a decent amount. This is just kind of little bird's eye maple. I did put sort of the bolt-on headless nut, which I had spare, as a sacrificial unit to make sure that I don't go beyond focus bowl unit, and of course I scratched some metal or paint off of that one. That basically defines the limit of how far I could go. Okay. I just found out that the guitar actually does stand on its own, although it's a little bit tilted. So the neck is done. It's been sanded down to 240. I'm not sure if the camera catches it, but it is a bird's eye maple neck, and there is a little bit of bird's eye. I wasn't really expecting a very spectacular bird's eye. But it sort of looks like this now. So most of the major sort of woodworking using router, bandsaw, and all those power equipment should be done. Still kind of undecided on this bevel, what to do. Obviously because of the edge treatment, not sure if it's going to come out well or not, but this will probably be a palm sander or something. But anyways, this is sort of done up to this point. I have to fret, or I have to inlay the neck, the fretboard, and put frets on it, dress it, and probably assemble it, pre-assemble it once, play for it a little bit, and then if it's okay, probably find something I don't like, or something that requires further modification, and then probably going to finish, and hopefully it'll be done maybe within the next 2 or 3 months. From here it gets kind of slow because it's really detailed work. Painting or spraying does take time, and so this is that stand I was talking about earlier. So I'm gonna build some kind of stand based on the cutout or the remnants of the alder, the back of this, so it'll actually kind of stand upright one way or another. Okay, so adding the contour or a bevel onto the guitar side. So the thought process here is it is a pretty plain area here. It's flat, right? So trying to add a character line, like if you look at a car design or something, you know, right down the middle of the car, the side of the car, there is a crease or something, right? So basically trying to do that same thing to get kind of an excitement Originally we bent this part down, so let's see, that is what you're seeing here. But as you go further down, can't really see if you could tell, but the tip of the guitar, which means this, is 1/8 of an inch thinner than this part of the guitar, right? So we'll kind of reveal this to see. Yeah, okay. So I need to make the edge as hard as possible, that is like sharp as possible, so at least you get the sort of shadow effect, right? So you can see the line here, and hopefully this will make the guitar a little bit more interesting. Both sides, basically I just taped the outline, and I taped the 1/8 of an inch margin, or whatever I wanted to cut down, on the side too. So basically now the edge, so the maple edge, over here it's roughly 1/4 of an inch, right? So this top wood versus the body wood, the top wood is 1/4 of an inch here, and up to here it is about 1/4 inch. From here it's thinned down to 1/8 of an inch, and actually this is kind of a transition point, so it went down below 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, so basically I just taped it so I have a guideline, and then of course you saw the tape outline on the top. Hogged it out with a 80 grit, 120 and 240 sandpaper, and then you need to make this thing as flat as possible. So basically going across with a file, various types of file, to make it as a sharp of a plane, so it's not like a curve, right? Sharper I make it, the more pronounced this edge is going to be. So with that, I do have sort of a character line in this guitar, so hopefully it won't look as, you know, this wide slab of wood won't look as boring as it may. We'll just have to see how that works out. So actually I was quite happy with the beveling that I did on this side, so went overboard and started beveling on this side too. This really is, the bevel idea does come from a BC Rich guitar, like an Eagle or a Mockingbird or something like that. Of course this is probably hard to take off, and yeah, you have to wait and see later, because I don't know that I could take this off with one hand. So again, you can see, I think, the bevel, and you can't see the flame grain at all when you look at it from this side. Anyways, so now I think all of the contouring, beveling, or whatever of this guitar body is done.